All right then, gang. Late night TSL, and I always seem to pick the characters that befit the time slot. Gang, I am more than overjoyed to have this lad on the show. Christian GRAVIAS, he is an absolute unstoppable force, bursting onto the scene quite recently. 2 seconds. Bursting onto the scene quite recently. This guy is just absolutely dominating. But you know what, though, mate? Like, I tell you what, before I let you talk, right? Me and Christian, when we had lunch a few months ago, and the reason why I reached out to him was because he was just so consistently on it with a smile on his face and a hat on his head, just loving life and high on life or whatever it is that he's high on. And I was like, mate, I've got to see this to believe it. Like, I need to meet this guy just so I know that it's real. And I tell you what, man, you are, and I'm saying this in the most plutonic way possible, you are a bloody ray of sunshine in this real estate industry, mate. How are you?
Mate, that was probably the best introduction I've ever had in my life, mate. You made me feel like I'm a bloody superstar. I thought I was Tom Cruise.
Mate, don't start jumping on your chair and shit. I'll get done for. Oh, wait,
hey, just finally, how good was that chicken salad when we met?
Oh, mate, how good was that salad?
I'm still smashing it every day, so we can't go wrong. But honestly, no, thank you so much for having me.
Mate, what do you think of the backdrop, man? Do you like it?
Hey, honestly, you are living the absolute dream at the moment.
Mate, we are living the life. I've got a proper late night talk show. Yeah, get stuff, James Corden. It's all about the silver lining now. Look, man.
A perfect time slot. Perfect. 9 o'clock. We're fit. We're firing. We're ready to go. We're full of energy.
Get this guy, man. Get him. Just look at him. Mate, how the devil are you, man? How's life been for you? How's 2020 been for you so far?
Life's great. Honestly, obviously, I think for everybody, it's been an absolute roller coaster. But just looking around, everything around me I can't control. The only thing I can control is my actions. And I'm putting a smile on my face, as you said, putting a hat on my head, walking out the door, feeling like a superhuman and just trying to attack the day and get the best out of it. Try to get 1% better every single day.
Mate, right. So the thing is, so can I ask, how old are you?
26.
You're 26 years old, right? And like I said, man, I had to come and meet you for nothing else other than just to see if the aura that you present on screen is legit. And I'm telling you now, like, this is going to make me sound really, really old for a sec, man. So I'm not patronizing. Like, you just seem to have a real nice mix of maturity, way beyond 26 in terms of, perspective and whatnot. But you've still kept hold of that real, like, 12-year-old kid in a candy store style energy. Like, tell me, I mean, have you always been like this? Have you always been on like a million miles an hour?
Always. I think I've always gone through life just always wanting to be happy, always wanting to make people happy, people laugh. I think it's funny, when I was growing up, I just wanted to be an entertainer. I wanted to be a clown. I was always trying to juggle. I couldn't juggle. And now I just decided, you know what, I'll become a real estate agent, wear a hat, and you might as well play. I look like a clown in the real estate industry, so I'll take it.
Oh, wicked. I wanted to be a clown, but I couldn't juggle. That is absolute gold. Absolute gold, man. That is so good. Oh, brilliant. Mate, look, that blend, right, is something that, if you could bottle it up, you'd be an ultra billionaire, like times a million. Is it something, and be straight with us, is this something that you can maintain 24/7, or when does Christian need to turn off? Like, when do you know that you are about to hit the wall, or you're about to hit empty, or whatever? Because at the end of the day, man, we are all human, right?
Yeah, it's actually funny. I hit the wall probably 2 weeks ago.
Right?
Where probably, and it's funny. I just know as soon as it happens, where I wake up and I'm not feeling it, and it happens just randomly.
Mm.
When I wake up and I'm not feeling it, I feel like that for a week. I try to break the wall, and then I say to myself, you know what, I'm going to take a break. And that's what I did. I took a week off, just to kind of rejuvenate, recharge the batteries, and I'm back rocking and rolling. So it happens. It probably happens once or twice a year. And I've just decided as soon as I feel that, I'm out. I don't care what I'm going through, what's happening. I'm literally just shutting off for a week, and then I get back to normal, and we're back rocking and rolling and running through walls again.
Mate, look, all right. Before we continue on, just give the audience a bit of an MO, a little bit of a highlight reel as to who you are, what you're about, and where you're based, just so that people can have a bit of context here.
Okay, I'm a real estate agent. I work in Northcote. I've been in the game for 7 years now. The only way I got into the game, I finished school, got an extremely poor ATAR score. I was working at I was working at a deli, Leo's, and I was there for 2 weeks. They sacked me after 2 weeks because I shut the whole deli down, and that was like my own little first sight into the real world, that things aren't as smooth at school. Things, if you do something wrong, you're gone. So after 2 weeks, I was gone, and then I decided just to get into the real estate industry. And then I launched. My dad was in real estate. He'd left the game so he was in the game for about 30 years. He left the game for about 5 years. And I looked at Dad, and I said, let's go. So he assisted me with the start, and he taught me everything pretty much, for the first couple of years. He was there, guiding me through, and now we're just rocking and rolling, and we're moving, I guess.
One big thing that really sort of appealed to me with everything that you're doing in the industry right now, mate, is your absolute and the thing is, you're not doing it on purpose, so it's not being driven by ego, but you are absolutely running your show by your design, and it's
Yes.
fascinating. That bit's fascinating to me because it isn't something that we see
Yeah,
all that often.
it's funny. So my first breakdown was in 2017
Mm-hmm.
September. Harry, who's my business partner, who runs the Ivanhoe office, we opened up a second office, and he started running that. He was in America for the US Open, and I had just completely. I hadn't taken a holiday for like 2.5 years. I work 7 days a week. I don't switch off. It's something that, I don't know, people say you're going to burn out, but I'm like, yeah, but I love what I do. And I don't know, I can just go. I can just move. So far, I'm 26. I can move. I don't, I'm a bit overweight, but somehow I can still move pretty good. But no, so anyway, I was always a real estate agent, but I never felt like one. And it's weird that I used to wear the suit and the tie, and I used to dress and try talk in a certain manner, and I don't know, I just never felt it was me. And then I went to America. I was burnt out, and I just ended up taking a flight. I literally booked 2 days later. I was gone, and I went to America, and I spent 2 weeks there, and I walked around, and I went to all the biggest real estate agencies in America, and I was just having a look, and I went to a few opens, and I just wanted to see how they were doing. I was just curious. Something that sparked me was very hot. It was very hot. And something that sparked me was these guys were selling $10 million properties in New York, dressing however they wanted. And when I say however they wanted, it wasn't the suit, it wasn't the tie. It was still very good looking, and they were still very good at their jobs, and they were still doing well, selling high quality stock, but just dressing how they felt. And that kind of hit home with me. I looked at that, and I just said, if they can do it, well, then why can't I do it? So then I came back and I started dressing differently. And that was kind of how that started. And then I was on another holiday in Hawaii in 2019. So what I do is a 10-day bursts. I jump out of the country and I fly away. So 2 holidays a year, 10-day bursts. And I was in Hawaii and I always used to wear a hat. Every time I'd go like on a holiday, I'd wear a hat. And I put it up on my Instagram. I'm like, should I bring a hat into my real estate career? And I think it was like 93% of people said yes, and 7% of people said no. And I was like, okay, that's it. It's done. Like if Instagram says I got to do it, then that's it. I got to do it. And I remember I came back and I put the hat on and I walked into my first appraisal, and Harry looked at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Number one, you're dressing like that because no one else is dressing like that in my office. But number two, you're wearing a hat." I'm like, "What's wrong with the hat?" I'm like, "It looks good. Like, do you think I look good?" Anyway, I walked in. She gave me the biggest stare. I actually didn't get that business, which was a bit of, I didn't really care, to be honest with you. I was like, you know what? Doesn't matter. She doesn't like it. I'm like, everyone else is going to like it. And I don't know. I kind of just stuck with it. I've always just wanted to do my own thing and never really cared about really what people are going to say or or do, because I'm happy.
Now it's interesting, right? So just a few days ago, I posted a video that I saw from Guy Ritchie, and it was Joe Rogan was doing an interview with Guy Ritchie on his podcast, and Guy Ritchie always wears a suit, like everywhere he goes. The big British director, and he was going on about, and it made a lot of sense. He was going about not the fact that he looked good; it's what the suit represented for him. Right, and he was talking about being the king of your own kingdom, sort of thing, and how for him like a really well fitted suit does nothing except make him feel good, right? Yeah. When he wakes up and he gets showered, and he gets dressed, and he puts on that, and it makes him feel like he's the king of his own castle. Do you reckon, like in a weird way, on a subconscious level, you and the hat and the way that you dress is a bit of a representation of you taking ownership of who you are and what you're about?
110%. Honestly, 120 million %. And I feel like I can really bring out my character. I feel like I don't know, even I went into a listing presentation today, and she looked at me and she's like, "I like your hat." And I'm like, "Thank you very much." And like, I felt like that just kind of opened up and I was really able to just be myself. And yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, mate, I mean, since I've seen you, Fedora, I've been consistently trying to convince my missus that I should be getting a cowboy hat.
Yes. Yes.
And shouts of "shut up, broke back" keep coming back at me, right?
Come on, Andy.
Mate, I'd love it. I don't know what it is. I just really want a cowboy hat, and I'd walk around in it as well. I'm the least cowboy person on the planet, but cowboy hat. That's what I want. So I really find that fascinating, right? How it is. It's like you're giving yourself permission to be more of who you are, to be exactly who you are. And I think that, for me, as an observation, is probably your biggest strength by a country mile. Because what I love about what you do with an absolute unapologetic, but with so little ego, it's not even funny. And again, it's a fine line between confidence and arrogance, right? Like, you try stuff, not caring if it's going to work or not.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I'm always under the impression, like, sometimes I sit there and I think, you know what, like, I'm just going to throw this out there and I don't really care, because if it pulls off, then great. I can keep working on towards that, concept. If it doesn't work, great. Doesn't matter. We'll move on to the next thing. People, I'm always a big believer is people are always going to criticize anything that anybody does. Everybody's always going to have, something to say about everybody. So, you know what? Doesn't matter. Let's just go for it.
And you're exactly right, Matt. And that segues brilliantly into one particular example I was going to talk about, which was your James Bond video, that you did for a property. Guys, if you haven't seen it, he did a property. Oh, well, you probably will have seen it because it got round the traps quite quickly. He did a they did a property video that highlighted the property really, really well, but did it around a theme of James Bond trying to catch odd job and all this sort of stuff around the property. Mate, are these types of things like ideas that you just come up with in the middle of the night, or is it something that you'll bounce it off a couple of people first and then rock and roll, or what?
Yeah, it kind of started a couple of years ago. We did one risky business with a place. It was a property in Donvale, and we just kind of put it out there to see what would happen. And we hit 120,000 views. Then wow. And it just went nuts. Like the reception was absolutely crazy. People's opinions were divided as always. I think we had a lot more people that liked it rather than didn't like it. But in my mindset was they're talking about it. So like I'm happy about it. They're talking about the property, and that's great. Now, it was hard to measure how we went on that property. For example, at a buyer's perspective, we sold the property $50,000 over reserve. How much of a video how much of it did it play a role? I'm not too sure. We then for about 6 to 9 months, we didn't do another video. We were trying other stuff. We ended up trying to do different type of property videos, and it just wasn't the same. Like we were still getting views. Like it was still a little bit different in the industry, but it just was not the same. And I was always a huge believer. I've never wanted to be the guy that was going to make a video and hi, my name's Christian Gravias, and welcome to this property, and just slow pans and boring and no one cares, and still boring and no one cares. Like and I've always wanted to mix it up. So then it was an idea that came to my head. I'm like, the Joker movie had just come out, and for anyone that kind of understands, I'm obsessed with the Joker. I'm obsessed. Like he's like my go-to man, and that movie just like blew my mind. And I had this cool property in Port Melbourne. I'm like, I've got to get the Joker dancing around the house because this is going to be amazing. I just know it. And we did. We got a Joker dancing around the house, and that just went that went insane. Completely blew the biggest property video I think someone's ever done. It made all media outlets. It won me a lot of business. But the best part about it was the buyer that actually bought the property saw it. Now, he saw it. He was looking to buy a property in Elwood, and he watched the video and he's like, oh, I don't feel that this video has given enough about the house, but it was enough for him to get there. So that was his opinion on it. Always got to be honest, but I thought it was enough house, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He bought it. He came through and he loved it, and he bought it from the video. And and the exposure that it got was insane. Channel 7, Channel 9. I did an interview with the Current Affair, Daily Mail, Herald Sun, realestate.com, Domain. Like there was just articles banging around. That got 160,000 views, I think. Off the top, I'd be lying at the number, but it was just insane. And that's what led me to go to James Bond. James Bond as well did very good. I think that got about 80,000 views. Unfortunately, that we launched with that video, and I think after like a week, it kind of fizzled out because Corona just came and went, whoo, and I was like, oh, come on. I just saw this happen in this video, and Corona's just completely smacked it out of Facebook, and, that still went nuts. Unfortunately, we didn't sell the place. I've actually pulled the property off the market due to the circumstances, but we'll be launching again in September. And I had more videos. I had a Home Alone lined up. I had a Happy Gilmore golf movie lined up, and it all just got pulled because of the madness of what happened. So I look back now and I'm like, Christian, you probably should have just done the videos anyway and just had fun with it, but doesn't matter. They're all pipelined, and we'll do it in further videos.
Right now, so look, so I mean, let's talk about you and adversity for a second. I'm guessing it's kind of like when worlds collide, when you face adversity with the amount of energy that you have and whatnot. How do you handle that? And when and how do you handle yourself, more to the point, when that massive smile that you normally have on your dial sort of starts to twitch the other way? How do you handle that?
I always say to myself, is this problem going to matter in 5 years? No. So get over it in 5 seconds. And there's always, I'm not going to lie, I'm human. There's always something that can itch me. You know, I went through a situation a couple weeks ago that, you know, it was just a deal that literally just threw me off the edge, and I was kind of just trying to hold it together. And you know, I get angry. I get angry, but overall, I'm always replaying in my head. This ain't going to matter in 5 years. Move on. Life's great. Life's great. I've got a roof over my head. I'm healthy. My whole family is healthy. Everything's great. So what am I complaining about? And generally, I think that's the case of, you know, I don't want to speak for a lot of people's cases, but you know, generally I feel like people just really get themselves into a negative mindset, and they hold themselves in there. And I'm not too sure. I just can't answer that. It's been a natural ability for myself to never get angry or sad or upset at situations for a long amount of time, just because of I always just look around and understand that, I don't know, I'm here, I'm healthy, like I'll work it out.
Well, the thing is, though, man, and it's happened again. Like each interview that I do, there's always a link that ties the previous one to the current one. And the interview I did this morning, this lunchtime, with Jane Caulfield, she was really talking about how she deals with adversity, and two very different types, two very different people, but the message is still the same, in that by just having the ability to acknowledge that you're angry, or acknowledge that you're frustrated, or understand within yourself, like, far out, like you're really pissed off, but let's put it into a bit of perspective here. That internal dialogue is something that I'm finding to be an absolutely critical piece in everyone that I'm seeing that are rolling with the punches and moving forward. And I think that's one of the big key pieces for the greatest comeback. It is going to be that understanding of how you're feeling at that particular moment in time, and understanding that by accepting it and acknowledging it, it allows you to just take half a step back and see the world for what it actually is, right?
100%.
Now, mate, I've seen and it sort of ties in. There's a bit of a concurrent theme here, purely because you are so open and out there with all of your social media and so on and so forth. At 26, someone saying that, is it going to affect me in 5 years? No. Then get over it in 5 seconds, right? Where are you getting this sort of stuff from? Because, let's face, a guy who, sounds like he flunked his exams, got kicked out of his first job. How does someone like yourself really sort of engage in that level of wisdom? Because that's something that books can't teach.
There's a few, I don't know, there's a few different credits to people that I can give. There was growing up, I had a very good friend of mine who unfortunately isn't going through the best of times now, and we still keep in touch, but he was, I don't know, he was very in touch with positivity and optimism, and just really getting the best out of me, and introduced me to number one, we used to have a lot of conversations, and he introduced me to a lot of people online, and always with these people, I've always got them in my ears, whatever I'm doing, wherever I'm going, if it's in the car, if it's just before I jumped onto here, I was listening to pieces from different people that I get inspired by, or just a lot of content online.
Give me some names. Give me some names.
Gary Vaynerchuk is very big. To me, I've been listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, going in, and he's got I think 1,300 different podcast series episodes with certain different people. I like listening to the Wolf of Wall Street. Ryan Serhant, real estate wise, puts out a lot. He's probably the only real estate agent that I watch. I always look out. I'm reading a lot of books. Something that's huge. Someone that's been, I think, very good is Tom Bilyeu online. He's amazing. Who's the guy now? I feel like my head's gone just completely blank with who else. There's just heaps of people. Who else am I listening to at the moment? David Goggins. His book was amazing. He puts a bit of content out. If you search him, a lot of other people post stuff, but I don't really. Who else?
See, the thing is, right? The key thing for me with this is the fact that, a couple of pieces that through what you said just there. Firstly, your appetite for understanding, not necessarily for knowledge, right? Because, for example, Gary V, and I've
millions of people watching it.
I've been following him for a long time, and a whole bunch of people have. And there's some people, like I've got a very good friend of mine who's in marketing. Can't stand the guy. I think, because he's in more of your standard sort of marketing practice and whatnot. I understand where he's coming from too. But just generally speaking, your desire to consume understanding about various things, and I like how you said outside of the industry. Because I think it's safe to say that within the real estate space, I reckon it's very, very. So I was chatting to a financial planner, and it was sounding really similar. The amount of time that you speak to professionals that are just so pigeonholed into literally bouncing around their own industry is mental. It is absolutely insane. And what I love about what you said then is you look outside for inspiration, you look outside for understanding, because if you only stay within your four walls, it's kind of like conditioning cricket. You put them in a jar, and then you put the thing on the top. They'll only jump as high as the top of the jar eventually, because you've conditioned them to think that way. Whereas the brilliance in what you do is the fact that you've just got completely unlimited thinking, which is so admirable, right? I was chatting to someone else about. Have you heard about the imposter syndrome? Heard about that?
No, what's that?
So basically, imposter syndrome is where you start to having like the voices in your head prevent you from moving forward and giving something a go, because it's through either a fear of judgment externally, a fear of being embarrassed, fear of losing money, just a general fear of the potential consequence from anything that you're thinking of doing. And I've got no harm in saying that I've had that plenty of times, still trying to battle with a project that I'm thinking about putting out now.
Come on, Andy, you got this. Come on, just do it.
But that's the thing, right? But this is where your little face is absolutely brilliant, because, like I said, I just have so much respect, and I envy it to a degree. The fact that you are very much in tune with the world. It's not like you don't know what's going on, and you're that sort of head in the clouds that you don't know or don't care. But at the same time, you don't care because of the fact that you're going to get judged either way.
Yeah, that was literally that's exactly what I was going to tell you. What's like Oprah Winfrey? I don't know, whoever's so influential. I can't off the top of my head. I'm trying to reel out names. Mother Teresa. All these great people that do great things, they cop it regardless. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I could literally cure cancer, and somehow I'm still going to be ridiculed for whatever reason. So whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to probably get ridiculed. And it's funny. It's actually funny that you say this. I remember the first time I ever put out a piece of content online. It was January 2019. It took me an hour to try get a 1-minute clip. I could not get it right. And I was about to give up. I'm like, Nicole, I was with my partner. I'm like, Nicole, I can't do this. I'm going to give up. And she's like, no, Christian, you're going to do it. You're going to pump it out. So anyway, I got it. I put it out. 10 minutes later, I got a call from Harry, who my best friend and partner. And he said to me, Christian, I just want to let you know that people are laughing at you. And I said, Harry, I love you so much, but I don't give a... That was it. Like, that was it. From there, like, that just clicked in my head and said, okay, Christian, you just tried doing something to try to do something well for someone. And I got completely ridiculed by people that don't even know me. They got no idea who I am. They've just watched a 1-minute video and judged me. So I was like, oh, well, great, whatever, let them judge. Let's keep doing this. And that's obviously how it's always been. It's kind of always been my mindset to just kind of throw it out. And, you know, it's someone that they've asked me, like, and I see it a lot where, you know, people, I'm always trying to push people to do content. They're like, oh, I'm scared. And it's always just the fear of judgment from their peers. I see them doing something, and then in their Facebook chats with their friends are laughing at them. And, you know, and I tell them, like, why do you care? Why does it bother you so much that people put you down, like, or make fun of you? What are they doing? They're not doing anything to help, or they're just trying to, I don't know, just not be nice people. But don't worry about it. Don't just go hard, because the people, there's are going to be people that criticize, but there's all these people, which you can't see on camera, but that there's this many people that need to hear it and want to hear it, and they get inspired by it, and it helps them. So don't worry about the minority. Go for the 99%.
I mean, one thing that I've been trying to say to a few people is that good people, like generally speaking across society, it's generally the arseholes that are the loudest people, right? It's generally the arseholes, because they're the ones that really don't give a shit about who they're offending or who they're upsetting, or you know, consideration for others, none of that. And generally speaking, that's the way forward, the way it's been. One thing that I've observed that's been of a benefit coming out of the COVID cloud is that the arseholes have gone a bit quieter, and the good people are starting to shine through a little bit. Now, even way before COVID, you being the guy that you are, you've been really sort of shining through as much as, that instance when you're on the news and whatnot, there have been people that, you know, arseholes or not, that have been trying for years to get that ego trip of being on the news, right? And that you wouldn't have even thought about your own ego. You've just gone and bumbled on there with your hat on and just like rocked and rolled and just loved it, right? And just bounced on there and bounced off. So moving forward into the second half of this year, I would implore people, if you're not following this dude, just start following him, right? Irrespective of where he's in his career.
You make me blush here. You are
like seriously, like this guy, if nothing else, I mean, and the thing is, right, you might not agree with him on some stuff. You might think that the next video that he does is just the shittest thing on the planet and shows nothing about the house and has got some random rolling around on the floor or something like that. But don't see the superficial, see past it, and understand that the energy that this guy is trying to bring to the world, let alone his own business, is so unbelievably admirable. Now, mate, moving forward, there's obviously a bunch of people that are on the canvas, right? And the referee's counting. The referee's doing the standing 10 count, right? And there's lots of businesses that backs to the wall and then some, okay? And you know, restrictions are starting to be lifted, which is good. But again, off the back of that, there's a bit of panic that shit, we need to start making loads of money dead quick, because otherwise we're going to be screwed, and so on and so forth. For those people that are really sort of panicking about, you know, the integration back and are they going to survive and whatnot, just give me your version of events as to how people can really excel, not just get through, how people can excel going into the next half of this year.
Okay, I think, and this is something I do this on a daily basis. I believe, and I could be wrong. This is just my opinion. I believe people lose the day before they've even walked out of their house.
Okay.
And my thought process behind that is people before they've left the house have already filled their heads with negative criticism about everything that's going on around them. I'm not making any money. This is going bad. This is happening to me. This is happening, that before they've even walked out of the door and to fight the day, they've already lost, where they're fighting this mental battle in their head for the rest of the day. And one thing goes wrong and they get this bad phone call and it puts them in the ditch. And yeah, it just, they've lost. Now, for me, as I said, I can't control anything around me. In my head, the way I'm tackling every single day, because we're all in this together, we're all going through tough times. And I think for me, as soon as I get up, I obviously I get ready for work. I jump straight in the car. I've got motivational songs. I play the same songs on the way to work every single day, pumping myself up, geeing myself up, just ready to just smash the day. Just smash it. Get myself in a positive mindset, because if you're looking at things positively, the outlook on your day is always different. It's always gonna be so much better. Now there's days where things just don't go right. But at the end of the day, I always say to myself, okay, Christian, this day didn't pan out the way you wanted to. Now there's going to be two things. We're either going to leave this day behind, we're going to go to sleep, and we're just going to forget about the day. We're going to wake up tomorrow with a positive outlook, and we're just going to smash it, or we're going to stay in this ditch. We're going to keep worrying about everything that's going on. We're going to get upset, and we're just going to, instead of it just being one day, we're going to turn this into a week. We're going to turn this into 2 weeks. We're going to turn this into 3 weeks. And it's all about the conversation that you're having with yourself. To me, like, it's the conversation that you're having with yourself. Like, I truly believe, and I say this to myself every single day, I am the greatest real estate agent in the world. I'm the greatest. Now, I'm not, but I believe it. I believe it. I wake up and I'm like, I'm great, Christian. But it's just like, I make myself happy. And I'm feeding myself with positivity. And once I do that, I'm walking out the door. I feel like Superman. I got my cape on, I got my hat on, and I'm just going. I'm on. So yeah, I think it's just the conversations that people are having with themselves.
Mate, that is so good. That is such, and it's not something that many people have really said on this show at all yet today. Is the internal dialogue in the morning at the very start of the day is critical. It is, because it's one of those things. You change the plane's trajectory by 1% on the runway, and it'll end up being in a completely different bloody hemisphere, let alone country, by the time it gets to its destination, if it was traveling in a straight line. The trajectory that you put yourself on when you take off from that runway is the reason. It is the reason. And, and the hat's part of it, and, the suit of armor is all part of it, right? But I think that is something that we all really, really need to pay attention to. We all need to, tomorrow morning, if you're struggling, the very first thing you need to do is pay attention to how you are starting your day. It is absolutely, undeniably, probably the most important thing that you could do right away, like immediately, to automatically have a bit of an improvement in your lives. Because we could talk about business, and there'll be loads of people that will perhaps be saying about your videos, well, how the hell does he afford it, or how much did he get the vendor to pay for that, or whatever the case may be.
It's so cheap.
Let them work that out. But you know what? And that's a whole other topic, right? It's awful. But like, it's just one of them things that, and it's something that I've only really recently become aware of, literally over the last few weeks of the stuff I mean, is how unbelievably powerful self-talk is.
Yeah.
The way that you talk to yourself is so incredibly powerful, and it just shows in yourself, like on your stories, your Insta stories, or your Facebook, or whatever, wherever it is. You know, people might find it like real cheesy and whatnot, but you're not doing it for you, for them. You're doing it for you,
Man.
right?
It's literally like, I just employ everybody in the car tomorrow. Just put on the song, whatever it takes, and just put it full blast and just sing. I'm telling you, if your morning doesn't start off amazing, just send me a message and say, Christian, you're just a fraud. You're just full of it. Because I'm telling you, that is a pump up. Like just getting yourself right, getting yourself right. And in the morning, it's like the only time where I've got me time, because as soon as, I start my day, I'm in the office at 7, because as soon as I feel like as soon as 9 hits, it's all over. There's meetings, there's calls, there's nothing. So I've got 2 hours to get myself right, and the rest of the day set up.
Now, I want to come back to a point that you made earlier, and I'll end on this because I'm conscious that there will be a whole bunch of people that will be like what you said. He's never going to be able to get in at 7 every morning. The guy's not. He's clearly not got any kids. Blah 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 blah. Right? The whole thing of you working 7 days and so on and so forth, but you love it and what have you. There's one thing that that I heard where I don't know whether it was Gary Vee, but it was someone that Gary Vee was talking to around about the whole thing of it's not work-life balance, it's just life. And when you find something that you genuinely love and have an outpouring of passion for, it doesn't feel like work. I mean, I caught similar grief to a degree. It just yesterday, someone said to me in a network group, it was like, "You don't sleep. You're ridiculous." But for me, I am enjoying the stuff that I'm doing. I mean, me and you last night, I was like, I found someone else. We were messaging each other.
That's why we're messaging at like 1 a.m.
Right? But the thing is, though, it's all going to get put into context. You're a lad, 26, rocking and rolling to the best of your ability, all guns blazing, because this is the time for you to do that, and you acknowledge that. In terms of your energy levels and so on and so forth, is there ever, and we've talked about you hitting the wall and what have you. Do you ever look on a day, or there's particular meetings or there's particular things where you're like taking a deep breath and going, "Whoa, that's a big one. That is a big old day that I've got."
Never. Never. Like, to me, I know this is going to sound so cliche and people can think I'm bullshitting, but I absolutely love, I wouldn't do anything else. I love it. I love it. Like, I lather myself in it. And I think the harder the problem is, or the harder the meeting is, I'm just lathering myself in the problem. I'm just like, this is great, because I know, especially now, I'm in that phase where we're always learning. And I believe, like, okay, I'm going to get into something that's ridiculously hard, and it's going to be so much fun because it's going to be so hard. But once I'm through it, I'm going to just experience it. And once it happens again, I'm going to be like, okay, that happened to me like 2 years ago. So I'm going to understand that this person's like this. So I'm going to have to handle the situation like this, because last time I did this and this is what's happened. So if I go like this, it'll be a better outcome. So I enjoy it. Like, it's never too hard. And once it is too hard in my head for that week, that's when I know I'm tired. That's when I know, Christian, if you're sitting there saying that it's too hard, get the F out of here and just relax. And that's what I do, because I know that, what I do, it's a lifestyle. And there's so many people, when I've talked about it, message me and say, Christian, like, you're full of it. You're full of it. Like, you don't do what you do. But just watch me. You'll see. Like, I do. I love it. I love it. I wouldn't do anything else. Like, I always sometimes think, okay, like, well, what else am I going to do? Like, if I'm not enjoying where I am, and especially I credit to my environment as well. It's kind of, we're in the office, they're all friends of mine. We're all brothers, we're all sisters, we all get along. It's if you see what we're about, we've made a TikTok, so follow us, and we're always having fun. We're having a laugh. Like, it's like I'm hanging out with my friends all the time anyway. So yeah, it just, I don't know, it just never feels like work.
Now, mate, are you going to be like this in 10 years' time?
I bloody well hope so. I hope I don't turn into that old, like, 36-year-old man that just, like, hates the world and hates everyone. Like, honestly, I don't want to change. And if I feel like I am changing, then I truly believe that I'll probably have to figure something else out and change what I'm doing. Like, I always say to myself, it's kind of happened on a smaller scale, but I always look at myself in the morning, every single morning. I wake up and I'm brushing my teeth and I look at the mirror and I say, Christian, do we want to do this today? And if it turned out that I don't know, I kept saying that I didn't want to do it, I would change. Like, it's funny, like, I'm not attached to what I do. Like, I'm not attached to my industry, and it's because I love what I do. I love it, but it's because it makes me happy. Like, if I was not happy, I would move. I'd move on. I'm not afraid. And, you know, that day might come. It might never, but I'm not emotional to what I'm doing. I'm emotional to my feelings, and if my feelings aren't right, you know, well, then we got to change it up, I guess.
Mate, that is probably, it's the perfect way to bring this thing to a head. But that is nail on the head stuff. It's the fact that you are not emotional towards the what. It's all about how and why it makes you feel the way that you feel, and that goes so far to explaining who you are as an individual. It's that ability to know and be honest with yourself when, right, it ain't working, I'm out. And that, I think, is the fear that a lot of people really need to address, not get over, but address, because at the end of the day, we are in a fortunate position in our lives where we're in a town full of choice. We are abundant in what we have around us. And I think you would just embrace that and then some, and understanding that if it ain't going to work, I'm just going to apply myself to something else, and I'll find something else that I love. You know, you'll find that when you do, you know, if and when you do have kids, for example, you'll go, right, I love my kids. What can I do?
Yeah.
It's going to help me get around my kids and adapt to my kids. And I wholeheartedly believe that to be the case, and it's just based on exactly what you just said at the end there, mate. And that is brilliant. That is absolutely wonderful to hear from someone like yourself. And moving forward, for people that are, you know, going into the next half of this year and they're really struggling, and they're looking at themselves and they're looking at what they are doing right now and going, I'm dreading the future, I'm dreading life right now, and then I'm dreading what I'm about to go do to try and fix it. You gotta change something somewhere, and normally your life you can't change that easily. Your location isn't that easy to change either. But what you do is purely a choice. It is purely a choice, and we are not all the under a rock sort of limpids, like useless at everything except one thing. We're all human beings with two arms, two legs. There are always things that we can do. There are always things that we can do, mate. I could speak to you forever and a day. You're an absolute lad. You're an absolute lad.
You are a superstar.
And mate, you know, you've got people loving you left, right, and centre at the minute. You've got people calling you a rock star and a legend. And mate, you're an absolute lad. And I'm really, really glad that our paths have crossed and that we've got to know each other pretty well in a pretty short space of time. And I'm really glad I've got someone to text at 1 a.m.
Mate, I can't wait. See, before, the reason why it was good when we met, but what we actually made a pact together that said, okay, Andy, you're going to train me to become this crazy auctioneer. I'm going to get on the street. I'm going to wear my hat. In summer, I'm going to rock my shorts, and we're just going to bloody sell property, take bids left and right. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and we've gone, shit hit the fan, and now we've kind of gone back to a bloody private sale market. But I'm telling you, Andy, we are going to get this rocking and rolling. You're going to get me out in the park. We're going to be screaming our lungs out. And then we're going to get on that street. We're going to turn into a superstar auctioneer, and it's all going to be because of you. We're going to do it.
Oh, look, and that is going to be fun when it happens as well. I'm saying that now. Gang, mate, just before I let you go, any last comments, any last messages you want to get out there to the Silver Lining fan before I let you crack on with your evening?
No, honestly, I just want to say thank you so much. Number one, I feel absolutely flattered that how much praise that you've given me. I'm just not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm just so high. No, I always say to myself, don't get high in your own supply, because all Andy's flattering comments, I've got to just kind of just pipe it down a bit. But no, honestly, thank you so much. And to anybody that's, honestly going through, tough times, during these times, just always just remember, today's today, tomorrow's a whole new day. It's a whole new chapter. Positive thoughts, looking yourself in the mirror. Are you enjoying what you do? If not, just move, just go find yourself and just be happy. Just praise the world, praise everybody, and just give everybody love, and the love will come back, and just get your head straight. Honestly, that's kind of all I got to say.
Mate,
yeah, I talked my ears off for fucking 51 minutes here. I think everyone's like, shut up, Christian, I want to get to bed.
Mate, God, no. I think a lot of people could feed off your energy for days to come. Look, everybody, listen to him. Have a look at what you're doing in the morning. First thing, have a look at how you're treating yourself, talking to yourself, behaving to yourself, and just analyze that. Is what you are doing hindering your own person, your own self, your own life? If it is, make a damn change and put on a song that's going to make you sing your heart out. All right, gang.
Just go hard. Just smack it hard.
On behalf of Christian and myself, that's Late Night TSL for you. Man, you're a ledge. Thank you so much. And gang, we'll see you tomorrow.
Aston, we'll catch up soon, definitely.
Take it easy.
Have a good one. Bye.